I'd like to welcome everybody to Bio 111 for the spring 2024 semester here at Nash Community College. My name is David Thomas. I'll be the instructor for the course. In this video, I just want to kind of give you a brief introduction to the class, and we'll be looking at things like the assignments and labs, and we'll go over the syllabus as well. And so what I've done already is opened up the Moodle course. Your site might look a little bit different than mine, but I'll kind of go through here and show you a few things about the Bio 111 course. The first thing you'll see is basically just a brief introduction page here. And I've also listed a few things to kind of get you started. I sent this out in an email already. And so just a few things to get you started. Make sure you do read over the syllabus. I'm going to go through and highlight some of the main sections of the syllabus with you. One of the main things you need to do, if you haven't done this already, is to complete the enrollment verification activity. If you've taken an online class before here at Nash, you know all about this. It's a very quick activity. There's only a few questions to answer. It's not graded, but it serves as your attendance, your first attendance for the course. It is required and it must be completed by Thursday, January the 18th. Otherwise, you'll be withdrawn from the course. So this needs to be completed today if you haven't done so already. So make sure you take care of that. Like I said, it only takes a few minutes. After that, that opens up the online orientation tutorial. You may have completed this last semester. And so if you have, you already have a certificate on file and you just need to re-upload that completed certificate to the link below. And I'll show you where that's at. We'll be using to complete some of the labs this semester in biology. We're going to use some virtual labs and also some hands-on labs from a lab kit. And so that lab kit has been paid for through your tuition and fees. But do one thing for me is to make sure that your home address is listed correctly in self-service. So log into self-service, make sure your home address is there. If it's only lists a PO box, you need to change that to a street address so that your lab kit can be mailed directly to your home address. But just make sure everything is correct. That means so that your lab kit is not delayed getting to your house. We're going to be using ProctorTrack this semester. Some of you may have had an online course already using this software. We're going to be using ProctorTrack. This is a proctoring software for our exams. And I'll show you where we have a ProctorTrack kind of an onboarding type quiz, just to kind of test and make sure your device, your computer, laptop, Chromebook, whatever you're using, MacBook, PC, whatever you're using, is set up and ready to go, that the audio works, the microphone works, everything's working fine, the webcam works. And so that onboarding quiz lets me know that you are ready for the exam portion of the course. And so I'll show you the link to that as well. And then after you get all those things done, it's ready to start in on the week 1 assignments. I'm going to show you how to get started there also. One quick note is you already have my email address because I emailed you earlier, but anytime you have a quick question, just send me an email here at my Nash email address is listed there for you, and I'll be glad to respond, hopefully that same day, and try to get back with you very quickly. All right, so let me kind of go through here. There's a lot of things to kind of review over, as you can see. Here is the link to the syllabus for the class. We're going to look at that in just a minute. Of course, here is where the enrollment verification activity is. Like I said, it only takes a few minutes to complete this, but it is very, very important to do so. Right after that is where you're going to do that online orientation tutorial or course to complete that. Also, it doesn't take very long. Both of these are required to complete before you can continue in the course. All right, so if you log into Moodle and everything looks like things are missing, it's because you need to complete these 2 activities first before you can start your week 1 assignments, okay? So let's take a look at the syllabus. Once you click this, it opens up the syllabus. You can download this if you want. You can print it if you'd like to have a printed copy, but it's always going to be here in Moodle for you. My name and contact information is up here. I don't have an office on campus, so the best way to contact me is through email. If you want a virtual meeting, like through Zoom, you can email me and we can schedule that. And so let's see, let's kind of go through here just a little bit. This is uh, a 6 hour contact hour course. So 3 hours are dedicated to lecture each week, 3 hours are dedicated to online labs this week. And so it's a total credit of 4 credit hours. Of course, this is a completely online course. It's 100% asynchronous. All your work will be through Moodle, and then the publisher content, which is through McGraw-Hill. And of course, I've already mentioned that there's going to be a lab kit to complete some of the lab activities. All of the required materials are listed here for you. This is our textbook information, biology by Mater. What you need to know is that this is already part of your tuition, and so you have access already to the ebook, and I'll show you how to access that and all of the assignments that go with that. If you wanted a loose leaf printed edition, you can check with the Nash campus store there. And of course, like I said, mentioned before, was the lab kit. Also, we're going to be using ProctorTrack. This is a free software, and I'll show you a link to access that, but you have to have access to a device, a working device that you can use to not only complete assignments, but also to use this software to proctor exams. If you don't have your own personal device, you can use one in the Nash library. Also, please be aware that you're required to provide a government-issued ID or your Nash Community College student ID. And also note that the ProctorTrack software does not work on a cell phone, even though cell phones you can use to complete some assignments and things. The ProctorTrack doesn't work with a cell phone technology, and so you'll have to have some kind of device. A Chromebook is fine, a MacBook, a PC, laptop would work fine. There is a link here to technical support. So if you run into problems when you take that ProctorTrack onboarding quiz, then just check out their website. They have a nice chat function. You can send in a request, and they can help you work through whatever type of technical problem that you may be having. And it is required to have, a webcam and microphone, because that's part of the proctoring requirements there. All right, let's look at the course description. We're going to be looking at the principles and concepts of biology, especially some general biology. We're going to have a little bit of chemistry in there, just a little bit of molecular and cell biology. We're going to move on to cellular processes, chemical processes, including metabolism, how cells get energy, and how living things obtain energy and use that energy. Energy transformation, both in animals and plants. We'll look at things like cell respiration and photosynthesis. We've got a pretty big unit on genetics that we're going to look at. And the last unit deals with evolution and a few other topics there. Some of the main student learning outcomes are listed here for you. Some basic cellular biology and the chemical components, comparing and contrasting to these cell types here: prokaryotic cells, eukaryotic cells, understanding cell division. We're going to look at mitosis and meiosis, understanding some basic genetics as it applies to living things. And then through our lab work, you're going to be designing, analyzing, interpreting some scientific information. And we'll also have some biotechnology. There's a biotech type chapter in there. Some of the labs also deal with some biotech work as well. Course grading is listed here for you. The module exams, we have different unit exams, and so they go together into a category that will be weighted for 60%. You'll have a final exam that will be weighted 10%. Then your homework assignments, they all kind of go together. I'll show you how that works. We use SmartBook and some quizzes for each chapter. They go together into a category that's weighted as 10%. All of your lab assignments will go together, kind of homework assignments will go together for 10%. And then you have lab quizzes for each of the labs that you do. They go together for 10%. All of this adds up to a course total of 100%. Of course, we follow a 10-point grading scale. And so if your percentage is 90% up to 100, that's an A in the class. 80 to 89 is a B in the class. 70 to 79 is C in the class. 50 to 69 is a D in the class. Anything below 60% is F in the course. Try to complete all assignments on time, but if something arises and you're not able to complete something, there's some kind of emergency situation, you need to contact me ahead of time, if at all possible, and to see if that is an acceptable excuse to have some kind of extension. So please kind of keep that in mind. A couple of important things to kind of think about. We have a lot of information to cover. It's strongly recommended, encouraged to keep up with this material on a regular basis. In other words, many of the due dates, not all of them, many of the due dates will end on a Sunday night. But don't wait till Sunday night to begin the work, because there's a lot of information to go over that week. So you need to try to pace yourself out throughout the week. Try to do some of the assignments, some of the reading, some of the homework each night to kind of break it down a little bit. So that you're completing everything by the due date, because assignments will not be accepted after they are due. I'm going to show you some of these different homework assignments, where they're located, but here's kind of a description about them. Your homework assignments, your lecture homework assignments, go through a program called SmartBook. This basically allows you to read the textbook, answer questions kind of simultaneously. And so each chapter we cover will have questions assigned as you're reading them. As you're reading the text, you complete the questions. At the end, when you finish that, there'll be a chapter quiz. And so the chapter quizzes are open book, which is nice. They're not timed. You have as much time as you need. You can start and stop the quiz throughout the week, but you only have one attempt. So once you submit that work, then it's going to be graded. You only have one attempt on the quizzes. So you want to make sure you're kind of ready to take that quiz, complete all your other homework assignments for that lecture, watch the lecture videos, take notes, look at the notes, so that you're ready to take that quiz. You only have one attempt at the quiz. We already mentioned the eScience labs. They'll come up in a few weeks. Our first one will be the first week in February, and I'll show you how to access some information there. We already mentioned proctored exams. I'll give you more information about that as we get a little closer to our first exam. The exams, basically, the proctoring software is going to record you while you take the exam. And unless I say otherwise, you're not allowed to use any kind of notes or textbooks or resources or anything like that while you take an exam. Each exam you can only complete one time. I mentioned already the Proctor Track onboarding quiz. Just kind of make sure your device is ready to go. I'll show you where that is located in Moodle. And then communication, please communicate with me. If you've got questions, if you're not sure what you're trying to accomplish, if you're not sure what's due that week, if you've got questions on, how to access something, please send me an email. I try to get back with you that same day. If it's over a weekend, I do check email over the weekend, but it may be a little bit longer if it's over a weekend or holiday or something like that. Please take some time to look over this course attendance policy. We do take attendance. I do take attendance for online courses. And so it is required. And so a withdrawal process will be initiated for students who fail to attend classes for scheduled online sections after 2 weeks or 14 consecutive calendar days. So in other words, if you don't do any work in the class, you don't submit any assignments in the class for 14 consecutive days, calendar days, including weekends, if you don't do anything for 2 weeks, then you're going to be dropped from the course. All right. What that means is once you're dropped, you'll receive a withdrawal from the class, right? And so make sure that you are submitting some type of assignment, even if it's a homework assignment or lab assignment. You got to actively participate in the course each week to be present in that class. And please let me know if you have any questions about that attendance policy there. There's more information here on the attendance policy and withdrawal policy in the academic catalog. You can also click on these two links in the syllabus for additional college resources. I've also included a link here with the assignment schedule, but I'll show you where that's located in Moodle. So please look over the syllabus, reread through there, and email me if you have any questions. All right, so other things in Moodle to kind of look at. Just below the enrollment verification activity, the online orientation, I've got a little link here for Ask Mr. Thomas. This is just a way that you can post a question. Maybe you've got a question, other people want to see it. It's going to post out. Everybody will be able to see it in the class. If you don't want to post it there, that's fine. Just send me an email. If you've got a question you want me to see only, that's fine too. But you can use this and I can post the answer here, and that way everybody gets to see it. Or you can just email me directly and I'll reply just to you. There's just another option to contact me there. Let me show you this course content schedule. And again, remember that none of these things here will be visible until you get that enrollment verification completed in Moodle there. So let me show you this assignment schedule. I hope this is very helpful to you. I suggest printing it out. You can print things out in the library. This would be nice to kind of have. I've got a printed copy here. This would be nice to have with your notes or your notebook or folder. And then it kind of keeps you up to date on everything. It tells you what chapter we're doing each week, the deadlines, due dates, and things. So we're here January the 8th. We're working on chapter 1, the study of life. The lab assignments this week to complete lab 1. Due Sunday, January 14th. The assignments that are due here, make sure to complete that enrollment verification activity, the proctor track, and get into that smart book and complete that chapter 1 quiz. These are the things that are due this week. And so this would be nice to kind of check things off. Again, it's always here in Moodle, but you could print it off as well. I've also have exam dates. Notice that the exam dates are sometimes midweek. They're not, all the due dates are not always on a Sunday. So this exam 1 is going to be due Thursday, February the 1st. And so I'll email you or send out announcements about upcoming due dates. But all of the assignments and due dates, there may be times when things get extended out a little bit. So these are tentative dates, but for the most part, you can kind of expect this to stay very similar to how you see it here. All right. In the course announcements area here is where I will send you guys out announcements, usually 2 times a week, twice a week, maybe 3 times a week, if there's something that kind of comes up. It also goes to your student Nash email. And so make sure you're checking that email to keep current on any of the important updates here at the college. And so I'll send out announcements, kind of keep you updated what's coming up this week, what's going to be due this week. And then that way too, you can reply back to that if you have a particular question. All right, here is the Proctor Track onboarding quiz link. Not available until you finish that online orientation, and I also have a link to the student manual for using Proctor Track and a link to the Proctor Track support. So make sure you do this little quiz. It only takes a few minutes. Here is a link to your textbook. You can click on this link. It opens up the ebook. I'll show you other ways to access the ebook, but you can use it here. And then there's some tutoring resources located here, and I'll have some more information posted about this a little later. All right, let's look at week 1. And again, this little drop down here is going to show week 1. Everything that you need to complete assignments for the course, lecture, and lab will be inside of this section here in Moodle. We're covering chapter 1, the study of life. The due date, of course, is this upcoming Sunday. I've got a lecture block and a lab block, so make sure you go through the entire section here. Lecture assignments are listed first. First thing you need to do is start reading in chapter 1 and start working on the smart book assignments. I've got a little description here about how this works. If you've never had a course with McGraw-Hill, or use Connect before. Smart book assignments are kind of like almost like flashcard based questions. They kind of test you on some of the basic information of the chapter. You can kind of work at your own pace. You can start and stop the questions, and you'll get full credit as long as you complete all of those assigned questions by the due date. All right, and of course, said the due date is this upcoming Sunday for this chapter. Then you also have a chapter quiz. And again, this is not timed. It's open book. You can use your notes. You can use the textbook to try to find all those answers, but you only have one attempt. It is graded for accuracy, so you want to try to do the best you can to on that quiz. Also in this section, there's a link here for PowerPoint notes. So this can kind of help guide you through the reading. Also recommend that you take handwritten notes, or maybe take handwritten flashcards, or pretend this is like a fully seated class and you're watching lecture videos, taking notes. Writing things down is going to help you retain this information as you go along. Here is an example of a lecture video. You can click on this, and I'm kind of going through chapter 1 notes with you here. Sometimes I post additional videos. These are just other videos that I find helpful to kind of give you a introduction to that chapter as well. So this is just another resource that you can use to kind of help you with the content of the chapter. Here's a link to the SmartBook assignment and a link to the quiz. So when you click on this link, and yours may look a little different than mine, but I click on the little launch assignment button, takes me over here. Like I said, it's going to look a little different. Once you get into SmartBook, it's going to give you the option to read the chapter or to work on some questions. When you click on read, that's what it is. It takes you to your e-textbook. And so you can just kind of scroll down. Usually the textbook will highlight some areas that are what they consider more important sections. Just kind of scroll down. You can toggle through the pages. Section 1. You can kind of go through section 2 and kind of read the different sections. The little dots here, this is your table of contents. You can toggle that on and off. So maybe you want to skip ahead somewhere and look, other places in the e-text, that's fine. You can either go to different chapters from here, that's fine too, right? One thing I'll point out here too is if you go to the end of the chapter, there is a nice little summary of the entire chapter. And that kind of makes it nice, especially close to exam time. Here you have a summary. Some of the major concepts are listed here. The main vocabulary is listed there for you. That's kind of a nice little summary of everything. When you're ready to start the question part, all you have to do is click on questions. And so it's going to give you different types of questions. Some of them are going to be multiple choice. Some of them are maybe matching or select all that apply, fill in the blank, whatever. It gives you a question: which of the following is formed from a union of two or more of the other? Well, I know a molecule is kind of combined together. Atoms combined together. So I'm going to click molecule. Ask me how confident I am of my answer. I'm pretty confident, so I'm going to say hi, and I have that correct. That means I know that concept. I don't need to really review that concept anymore. I can go on to the next question, right? The smallest, most basic unit of life is and this one's multiple choice. And so I know that the smallest unit of life is a cell, but maybe I don't know that, and I say that I do, I get it wrong, right? I got it incorrect. It doesn't take points away, but it's going to make me kind of revisit that concept again. Now it knows that I wasn't sure about that and I got it wrong. And so it's going to kind of put it back into the flashcard based system, and it's going to bring it up again at some point, or at least that question type again. Once you finish all of these, if you need to go back to read a little bit, you can hit the reading button and it kind of takes you back to the chapter. And you can kind of go through and look up the answers a little bit. And then you can go through and hit questions again. So you can kind of toggle back and forth from reading to reading to answering questions. Once you finish all the questions, you'll get the full credit for that assignment. Once you're kind of familiar with the chapter, I would recommend after that doing the chapter quiz. And of course, here's down below here is a link to the chapter quiz. You probably don't want to start with the chapter quiz at the beginning, only because, again, like I said, it's graded for accuracy. So that's not the best place to start. I would start, read over the chapter, work on the smart book questions, watch the lecture videos, and then now I'm, take my notes. And now that I'm familiar with chapter 1, especially look at those vocabulary words. Now that I'm familiar with that information, then I can go and take the chapter quiz. All right, don't forget about lab assignments. They're down below. So I got lecture first and then lab. And the lab assignments for the week, for the first week, there's 3, but they're kind of short little lab assignments. The first one is a tutorial. This is optional. In other words, it's not going to be graded, but it kind of gives you a kind of a walkthrough of what a virtual lab simulation is going to look like. And so all of these links are down here below. So the virtual lab tutorials here is going to, again, it's going to open it up inside of Connect. And it's just going to kind of give you a run through of, let's see if I can find the assignment here. Sorry, it's not going to let me look at it now. It's going to kind of give you a run through of how to navigate through the lab simulation. And so I do encourage you to do that. It doesn't take very long to kind of go through that first virtual tour. The 2 graded lab assignments are listed here, 1A and 1B. 1A is lab safety, not a very difficult thing. When you complete that lab simulation, you get your full credit for. It's basically going to cover things like PPE, wearing, goggles in a lab, not having food and drinks in the lab, making sure you've got the proper attire in the lab, clothing and shoes and everything, safety equipment, wearing gloves if you need it, looking for safety hazards and different things like that in a lab. And then lab 1B is applying the scientific method, which goes along with chapter 1 on the scientific process, scientific method. Okay, so these 2 are graded assignments. And then don't forget that there is a lab 1 quiz. The lab 1 quiz has 20 questions. It's going to test you on what you've learned from lab 1A and 1B. And then once you do that, you'll get your credit for that. It is graded for accuracy. However, you can repeat this quiz. Let's say you take the lab quiz and you miss a couple and you want to try to do it again and get better at it, you can do that. So you can repeat this lab quiz to try to improve your score. Okay. That lab quiz is also located down here in just underneath the lab assignment. So these are lab 1A, lab 1B. That's actually doing the lab, and then the lab quiz is here. That is all for week 1. What I usually do is try to open up the next week ahead of time. It's not open yet, but I'll try to open up week 2 in case, let's say, maybe by Wednesday you've gone through and you're pretty good with going through, navigating and working through the chapter, or by Friday or something, and maybe the weekend you'd like to start in on the next week. Some students like to work ahead, which is great. So if you're kind of ready to move on, you don't have to rush through the course, but if you're ready to move on a little bit, then I'll open up week 2, which is on chemistry, some general basic chemistry. And so you could go ahead and get started on the chemistry section. So that's pretty much all that I have right now for Moodle. That's a lot of information. I hope this video was helpful for you. And so again, just kind of get started. Email me as you have questions, or if you see something that I forgot to go over, email me if you have questions. Make sure you get that enrollment verification activity completed early on, and then have fun and enjoy the semester. I'll be sending out other links to videos or other announcements in the upcoming weeks, so be on the lookout for those. Email me if you have questions, and I'm looking forward to working with you guys this semester. Thanks.